So here we are. Episode is entitled The Very Long Night of Londo Mollari, and it is definitely something that was being dreaded by Sunday, because
hell yeah,
we can call this episode The Redemption of Londo. And it's not even that good of a redemption. I guess in the process of realizing that you're a toxic person.
Yeah. You gotta fight first before you start healing. Right.
He's able to acknowledge, like, oh, mistakes were made. And it's kind of funny because the whole episode is basically him refusing to apologize, and it's literally killing him.
Yeah.
We get to see some really cool visualizations of what his psyche is doing as he's dying. He sees certain people, and there's a lot of symbolism, which is kind of cool. Which I guess with Centauri characters, there's a lot of symbolism.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes me ask this question: are all the Centauri a little bit psychic? You know?
Yeah.
Because I think you brought this up before, Mel, about how telepathy is spread among the Centauri. And the more and more I think about it, it had to have come from another show. I've been watching Foundation, and there's a character who gets these visions, and she doesn't know what it is. It takes like a whole season and a half for her to realize, like, oh, I've been seeing the future my whole life. That's weird. Why am I doing that? And then later on, like later in season 2, season 3, she realizes, like, oh, I'm psychic. I got telepathic powers. That would have been cool to know 30 years ago, you know.
Because they also have that dream where that it's common for them to see their death.
Yeah.
Which is also a circuit type thing going on.
And that's what I'm saying. It kind of reminds me of all of that. Like the way it's being depicted in this show reminds me of that show. And, you know, maybe there's not a ton of different things to use to show, like, maybe these people are telepathic. Maybe it's such a low level as really you might as well not be. But it's also probably extremely common to the point where people don't even think about it.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why the Centauri are so deceptive.
They're paranoid because they're worried about what other people think of them.
And
because
because they can actually hear what people are thinking.
Yeah, and their psychic powers aren't that strong. So, like, they're just constantly worried that there's going to be negativity, especially since they're always killing each other.
Yeah. Which, by the way, none of them like each other anyway. So,
right.
It's
a horrible place.
It's a nightmare place. It's an imperialistic, telepathic society. God. Then we have the other story that's being told. I don't like this story, so I'm gonna crap all over it. It is the story of Lennier leaving Babylon 5 because he has this deep, unrequited love for Delenn, and now he's feeling a type of way about it, and he's gonna leave. And it really frustrates me because they built up this amazing character, and then they're gonna ruin it with the typical romantic story, right? The typical romantic story of him being jealous or feeling left out, or the quote unquote nice guy.
Yeah, it didn't fit too well. It really felt like, to me, like thinking outside of the story, where Ivanova didn't come back because she had another contract. What if he had a smaller contract where he can't be in so many episodes and they need to have an excuse for him to not be there?
He could have still left with, his honor intact, because everybody's known that Lennier has been in love with Delenn since day one, and that she ain't got no interest in him. But he didn't allow that to influence how he showed up for her ever. And then to think that, like, just because she falls in love and gets married, that would affect how he treats her, I think is an insult to his character. Because he's been ride or die for her, like, no matter what. So it would be like your best friend getting married, and now that she can't be single, that you gonna be petty. Like, what? No, Lennier would never.
No, I thought it made more sense that he removed himself because then he can learn to do for himself and not just always be up under her all the time.
And
And
I
he
fuck with that,
never
but do
really,
you agree with? I apologize. I'm sorry.
I don't, he didn't, in a relationship, you have yourself as well. And he wasn't considering himself when it came to his feelings. So now he's going back to Minbar to reevaluate, to learn new things. And he also has I also felt like an influence of Marcus, where it's like he gave his life for her, but it's also, we also reflect on Marcus and see how he didn't do much for himself. He gave of all himself until he didn't have no more. So now Lanier taking this opportunity to basically have a glow up after not being able to be with the person that instead of being bitter, he's going to go take care of himself, which I think is like one of the best things you could do.
The thing with that kind of points towards a not so positive direction is, remember earlier in the episode where he's like, I'm going to join the Rangers, and Delenn is like dumbfounded, and she's like, Rangers die. It's extremely dangerous. And he's like, I know. And he has this like lovesick sense around him. And it, it makes sense, like you were saying, like for him to try to strike out on his own and learn how to do things on his own. But he's still doing it for the wrong reasons. And that's really outlined in the episode. And it's frustrating again because it's really not his character at all. It's not the character they wrote in season 2 and season 3.
I felt like there were really small character development going towards it. Him being friends with Marcus, him going on adventures with Michael, and just all of a sudden being ready to fight. And maybe he feels like this is a better way of using his skills. And instead of doing the safe thing, because he's admired people who weren't safe. He admires Michael and Marcus, and he's like, you know what? Maybe I can go out and do this and not be scared to get from under the wing of Delenn.
Yeah.
I felt like it made sense to me because I admired when he would show his bravery and explore new things. And he gets excited when he does it. So leaving, maybe this just sparked his want to actually do something that he would always want to do, that he probably didn't think logical. Or like not putting so much of a line between him being a part of the religious caste. Whereas he may have had more of a warrior spirit.
Thinking of it that way makes a lot of sense because what you're doing is you're putting together the progression of the character through the seasons. I think what Sunday and I are pointing out is kind of abrupt for him to do it, not for the reasons you were saying, but for the reasons that the show is telling us, which is he's loved.
Correct.
And it's like it does make sense for him to go because he does have this progression, but it should have been like, I need to grow personally, and there's no hard feelings here, Delenn, Sheridan. I'm in your way. I'm going to Minbar, and I'm going to become a ranger, and I'm going to explore the galaxy. No.
More like, I fuck with y'all the long way,
Yeah.
but my growth here has peaked. I'm at a plateau, and I need to push myself.
Yeah.
But I got y'all. Call me if you need me, because you know I'm your ride or die.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he kind of said that, but at the same time, it did feel like the writers were just rushing to get him out of the station for a bit. Yeah. So he's going to be popping in.
Yeah. Well,
that's why my first and strongest feeling about that was the contracts.
Yeah. It feels like the writers were rushing into a conflict too, because it reminds me of season 4 where they had to make all this stuff happen in short bursts through a couple episodes. It feels like they're doing that with Lennier because
Mm-hmm.
again, 3 close to 4 seasons of him developing into this amazing character, and then this sudden swerve. And I'm gonna go ahead and tell you why I think it's a big problem. It makes it seem that all of this stuff that we've learned about Minbari and the way that they value relationships and connections really doesn't mean what they've shown us. And at the bottom line is, if a man is interested in a woman, it's ultimately going to come down to jealousy. He's going to be secretly in love. She's not going to reciprocate, and he's going to be jealous. And we know that that's just not real life. That might happen in a lot of mononormative cases, but can I remind people how the Minbari have some not so mononormative values? Because remember when Delenn was talking about how she was the acolyte of Dukat? She absolutely loved that man. He was her mentor. They didn't hint at anything romantic between those two. And she still upholds Dukat. And she was treating Lennier the same way Dukat treated her. And Lennier was treating Delenn the same way Delenn treated Dukat. There was a loving connection there, but it wasn't a romantic love. It was like a fondness. Is definitely not what we would see between teacher student, but it's a fondness between people who respect each other.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking with the Ducat, was like, this person is so brilliant and I just respect the hell out of them.
Yeah.
But the Delenn Lennier situation was, he had a high regard for her character and how she carried herself through the religious caste.
Yeah.
So he just had a strong admiration for her, and that can easily blur into romantic feelings. But it's very much understood that, like, just because I feel this way for you doesn't mean you feel that way for me. And it doesn't have to turn into bitch fuck you then. It can still be respected. And, you just develop your emotional intelligence and accept the position in the life that you can have with the person that you are so fond of, and allow it to benefit you in the best ways that you can.
I kind of felt like Lennier was in. And we talking about this when you say you didn't want to talk about. I kind of felt like Lennier was her assistant, not just because he respected her, but because he had that romantic love that he kept. And like we said before, he never mentioned it. He just kept it to himself because he knew that she wouldn't reciprocate, and that was a waste of his progression. Like, I want to be near her because I love her, but I know I can't be in love with her. And so her getting married and losing Marcus was kind of like that shock that he needed to be like, I need to live my own life and stop chasing after somebody that I'm not going to be with. And he knew he wasn't going to be with her, even in the professional sense, before she even met him.
Yeah. All right. I like talking about this because this is literally like such a small part of the episode, but it arcs over a couple episodes though. Let's progress through some of these happenings. We'll get back to the Lennier part shortly. Opening up, we have the setup where Delenn receives a message where Minbar is saying like, "Oh yeah, we're about to send you a replacement for your assistant," and she's like, "What replacement?" And the Minbari that's on the screen has this amazingly sculpted goatee, which I've never seen on Minbari.
Oh yeah, because they don't have hair,
right?
Because it was very noticeable. I'm like, why is that so noticeable? Because it looked like a very goatee.
It looks like he's gonna do this call and then start recording the R&B album right after.
I don't know. I thought he was giving. What's the character's name that saves the trees?
Oh, Laura.
Yeah.
Really? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But so, and this is where she pretty much learns like, oh no, Lennier's leaving. He lied to these people so he could not tell me. And all of that stuff we talked about a minute ago kind of goes into reasons. Then we see Londo is in, it's like the bay where all of the transport stuff is, like the shipping. He's in the shipping bay. Apparently, his cask of Bravari was confiscated and was supposed to be reviewed due to a health inspection because they don't want there to be an infestation of, I don't know, bugs or something. But along with that, it's a fun little interaction between Lennier, Veer, and Zach because they're trying to give Zach a hard time, and Zach looks like he just is so comfortable with telling this dude no because, yeah, he doesn't like Londo. Not really. But he also doesn't care the same way that Garibaldi did. And Veer is over there trying to talk it over, trying to smooth it over. And while he has Zach's attention, Londo, being the giant man-child that he is, opens the bottle of Bravari and takes a swig. We know he likes to drink, so he's walking around, he walks off, and then he collapses. And we're like, oh no, what's wrong with Londo? No, we're not. We don't really care. But
no, I was like, let's sit your ass here because he just told you that could be contaminated and you're getting immediate consequences for your actions. It's about damn time.
Yeah. So we hurry him back to med lab and his condition is being reviewed. Veer thinks that it's poisoning. He tells so to Franklin and Franklin's like, oh, okay. And the bottle that he drank from was only designated for him. Nobody else. Like, yep. It's like, it had to be poison. And I don't blame them because, yeah, Centauri used poison. We switch to Lennier finally talking to Len and explaining that he is leaving to join the Rangers. And it's because he feels like he is no longer needed on Babylon 5 for Delenn because Sheridan and Delenn are close now. It's like, hey, look, you're married now. You don't need friends like me. I need to get out the way. And she is upset.
She's upset. She's kind of disappointed and sad. She looked like she wants to talk him out of it, but she also kind of wants to respect his decision. Yeah. And she mentions like, is there anything I could do or say to keep you? And he says, no, I've made up my mind. I need to do this for my heart. And yeah, I like that. Like, if it's not working for you, move on.
I can see like the heartbreak in Delenn because for her to be finding out from anybody other than him is really kind of jacked up. And his, like, if it's your decision, it's your decision. Is it going to hurt me? Yes. Am I going to respect it? Absolutely. Yeah. Because even though I don't have romantic or intimate feelings for you, I believe that Delenn loves Lennier just as much, just on a different spectrum. And I don't even think that Lennier only loves Delenn on the romantic spectrum. It's just the affection that he has for her. He could easily translate if the opportunity was available. Nothing wrong with that. To have those feelings, though, it's completely natural, and there should be space held, for it. But I think it was really messed up of him to start taking steps to make a move and then allow her to find out through the grapevine. That shows fear and insecurity on his part, and maybe him trying to avoid her talking him out of it because she's got such strong influence. I can see how he might have made the decision to do it the way that he did it to avoid her from changing his mind. But from the Delenn's perspective, I would have appreciated more if he had been a man about it and just laid it out like, look here, this is what it is, and this is the decision that I'm making. I love you and I got you, like I said before, but I am about to make this change, and not like, I don't know, he should have just been the one to tell her, that's all.
My thing with that was, like, when she found out from Mimbar, they contacted her in the middle of the night. Like they didn't know what the time difference was.
Rude.
Like she's rushing to find a robe and stuff. She's getting out of bed like in the middle of the night. Like why am I getting an alert right now?
Yeah.
And then the next morning she goes to speak with him and she's like, when are you going to tell me? And he's like, I was going to tell you right after we ate. Like before he told her this is what I'm doing, instead of like telling her I'm going to leave and then making the plans to leave.
Yeah.
I'm like, book, if you're going to leave, have your ticket when you say you're going to leave. Don't tell me you're going to leave and you're going nowhere.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So that was like, it kind of got brushed over. They didn't make it that obvious that they were calling her in the middle of the night randomly. And the guy calling her seemed a little weird. He's like, well, I got this request, and you're calling in the middle of the night, but it might not be night for them. So there was that little mix up that caused it to not go as planned.
Yeah.
He most definitely planned exactly when and how he was going to tell her.
Yeah. It's always that overeager dude that be ruining everybody's plans. Like, oh, I want to get ahead on this, and you just fuck everything up. Chill out, bro.
That fool knew, had some tea, and he was like, ooh wee, I'm gonna be the first one to tell Delenn, don't fuck her up.
And Sheridan, he's talking to Delenn, and he's like, is it because of me? And she's like, she looks like she wants to say no. She goes, kind of. Yeah. So we skip ahead and we see that Garibaldi is talking to Veer, and he's like, we found out what's wrong with Londo. He's like, yeah, you found the poison? He goes, no, it wasn't poison. He had a heart attack. And Veer is just so confused. He's like, what? He's like, yeah, he had a heart attack. And he's like, well, which heart? The left one. And
what, y'all kill each other and poison each other so often that y'all don't have opportunities for things like heart attacks and strokes to get you?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Does anybody actually get old on Centauri?
The last emperor did. The one before the crazy one.
No, but they murdered him. They like poisoned him.
But he was old. He died old.
Oh wait, you're right. You're right. He died, but they lied about his last words. That's what it was.
And I think he looked like a meditating, plant-based eating kind of dude. He wasn't given, drunken in a bar kind of vibe, but I could be wrong.
So Franklin explains the severity of the condition, and is basically his right heart is great, and that heart is like humongous on the monitor, and then they show the left heart, which is tiny. It's 2 sizes too small.
Oh no!
Hey, that's the third story that's being told in this one. The Grinch, the Telltale Heart, and the Christmas Carol. Okay, all right. I'm feeling this. And it's the heart has all of these arteries and things. There's a blockage, and it's pretty much shutting down due to stress. Basically, Londo is on a time clock. He has shelf life. He might not make it. And apparently the Centauri are like, okay, we're going to send you a heart system to help operate on this. And the thing about that, it's not going to arrive for 3 days. But Franklin is like, yeah, I can make him comfortable for like a day or for about a day. But that's about it. This dude is going to die though. So now we have kind of like, oh, dang, man. Londo's in a dire straits. He's had a heart attack. We can't get the right stuff to him in time. He is going to die. Oh, shucks. Londo is going to expire. Who could have ever thought such a thing would have happened to such a person?
Right, and there's no Marcus here to save him. Yay.
Shucks. Delenn and Sheridan are talking about Londo, and I thought this was funny too because they're having a conversation between that and Lennier's departure, and Delenn says, I never really felt sorry for that dude until now. And I'm like, you don't say, Delenn. The guy who started 2 wars, almost destroyed the galaxy because he was connected to the shadows, almost blew up his own planet, almost blew up the Narn planet, almost fractured the Alliance. You've never felt sorry for him? I'm surprised she feels sorry for him now, too. I'm surprised that dude is still on the council. He's a war criminal. He's a war criminal.
Yeah.
Say that part, because he ain't suffered no consequences. And the one thing I do like about this redemption line is that it is extremely genuine, because it is his own subconscious guilt that is driving him to the brink of death because you are not handling your business right. You know you was in the wrong, and you constantly just shooing it off and thinking that everything's just gonna be fine. You made all these horrible decisions and holding the rich white Centauri responsible for shit, so you think you can just keep running around the galaxy pissing on everybody and that you're gonna be okay on the other side. Not today, Satan.
And this is okay, so this is where they were discussing Lennier's departure, and Sheridan's like, is it me? Did I do this? And Delenn is like, yeah, it's kind of your fault. It's actually, if we're not going to assign fault. It is the circumstances, and Sheridan doesn't know enough about Minbari culture to understand. We'll use that headcanon. And yeah, we don't know if he's gonna live the night. In his dreams, we see that Londo is now in dreaming, and he's wandering around a symbolic brown sector, so it's all dark and dirty, and he encounters a veiled woman who for a second I thought was Delenn, and then he also thought it was Delenn, but then it's not her. She has like a different accent, and she is at a table and has these tarot cards passed out, and he's like, what is that, my future? And she's like, no, that's your present. And then he sees a vision of himself and Jakar, and he learns that there is a word that he needs to say that will save him. But at that time, the word is not revealed. And it's kind of wild that he envisioned Jakar at that moment, right? But this is important because this is going to help us get to the core of what is killing him. What's wild is he knows that he's dying, and he's admitting that he's lived long enough and he does want to live, but is him saying that he wants to live is not enough. He has to actually do something. And he hears a beating, like the beating of a heart, which is great because there you go with the telltale heart Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Hear the beating of the heart. And this is, I like that this is the symbolism, but this is also extremely weird because he's following the sound and he's crawling on the ground of Brown Sector, and he finds a grate. He grabs and removes the grate, and beneath the grate is this giant glowing beating heart, and that's the representation of his heart. And I just gotta say, bro is tripping balls right now. I don't know what Franklin gave him, but that's some good stuff.
That's funny. Are you sure it wasn't the alcohol he sipped before he passed out?
I know, because don't they have like hallucinogenic, like everything that they enjoy?
Well, like, and this is a representation of his subconscious, and this is how we're showing the Centauri subconscious. I also kind of felt weird about Delenn's character kind of being a Romani.
Oh yeah,
and just because of in the 90s when we just kind of just stereotyped that whole culture.
Yeah. Because they're
See one.
mysterious. What do they call that? Orientalism, kind of. Yeah, there's like a romanticism that's added to it. And anyway, it's a very toxic version of othering people. I guess when we move on to another series, we can discuss it more because it pops up in more than one sci-fi series. It's a trope.
Yeah.
We see that at a bar. I don't even know where this is. This might be on the Zocalo, but Lennier and Veer are having a discussion, and they're kind of like sharing how rough it's been. He's like, "Oh, you had a rough day? Yeah, I had a rough week. I had a rough year. I had a rough life." He's like, "Huh, you got me beat." So, and it's kind of funny because I think these two assistants have done this before, and I think it was before the war, the war with the between the Centauri and the Narn. They just have these little moments where it's just like, yeah, we know that we're not major characters here, and some wild shit's happening, but boy, this kind of sucks, huh? You know, they share a little joke. Lennier is like, "What are you drinking?" And Veer shows him and like, "Oh, this is it's an earth drink. It's called a Shirley Temple." And as an adult, I'm laughing at it because now I understand. And then the joke that comes with it. Lennier goes, I've never heard of that temple before. I guess when I'm on Earth, I will be sure to visit." And it's like, well, that's stupid.
I guess he thought the drink was named after an actual temple.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And when he finds out, he'll be rightfully embarrassed. But that's fine. It's whatever. Is the fact that Veer isn't drinking any alcohol at all. Like, Lennier could have had some, which, you know, they could have actually shared a drink. But what do I know? I don't write this stuff.
Well, he probably just assumed that Veer's drinking alcohol because he's Centauri.
Right, yeah. You know what? I need to look at the anatomy of the Centauri because the more and more I think about it, if they have a redundant heart system, like Franklin says, a redundant pulmonary system, because I think the same thing is true of the Klingons on Star Trek. If they have this redundant system, are other parts of their system redundant, like their kidneys and liver?
Klingons have 3 lungs.
Yeah.
And 2 hearts. So I remember that from the B'Elanna getting pregnant and wanting to make her baby human.
Oh, yeah. I remember Worf was injured. I can't remember if he had one of his hearts or one of his hearts punctured or one of his lungs punctured, but yeah, they shared that too. And they even share in Discovery, like, yeah, Klingons have redundant systems. So they're notoriously difficult to kill.
Well, I found out that a wife got pregnant and the father was not like their DNA testing was saying that her husband wasn't the father, and it was all of this hoopla going on and potentially getting divorced and whatnot because of, perceived infidelity, just to learn that this man was born a twin or was conceived as a twin, but he consumed his brother in utero. And so now he's got like blood of his brother, but organs of his own and all this weird stuff where the DNA wasn't an exact match to his own. And yeah.
Yeah, that's wild. And ironically, that is the exact origin of Professor Xavier and Cassandra Nova. Yeah, I'm gonna leave that alone because we're gonna move on. So in Londo's dream, he's back. He's in Red Sector now, and he encounters Sheridan in various forms, which I thought was weird. He's discussing death and regret and all the wasted time in his life. And this is funny because, Londo likes to wax poetic, and he does this in his waking life, but now he's doing it on his deathbed. And Sheridan encourages Londo to turn around, but Londo doesn't want to, and his condition begins to get even worse. This is where Franklin stabilizes him through electric shock therapy. Veer is there keeping watch over him, which, I mean, you got to commend someone like Veer. He is like extremely loyal, but he's loyal to like the galaxy biggest dirtbag. It's
well, also, if something happens to him and Centauri wants to know what happens, and Veer is like, I don't know, I won't there. He's probably going to look bad. Like, it's really his job to babysit him.
Mm-hmm. His babysitter, yeah. It's pretty funny. So, Londo's dream continues and it culminates in a plea to the great maker. He's begging to not die because he's like, I don't want to die. But Veer appears in his dream. And Veer is like, do you want to live or do you want to die? Londo is like, I don't want to die. And Veer is just like, okay, then don't die. In the dream, he's extremely confident, but in waking life, Veer is begging him, please don't die. Please don't die. I'm laughing because I send that message to people sometimes when they're doing goofy stuff. I'm like, please don't die. Or if they're about to eat some horrible food, like, don't die. Oh yeah, that's that comes from a TikToker who she's the forager. And that's her catchphrase.
Oh,
Yeah.
Happy foraging.
Yeah,
and don't die.
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. And Veer is encouraging him to stay alive. And he's like, you know, we got to clear your conscience. And Londo says, there's nothing wrong with my conscience. And then Veer's like, oh, there's nothing wrong with your conscience? Okay. Turn around, bro. And Londo's like,
there's no shit right there. Right.
And Londo's like, I don't want to, because right behind him, breathing angrily, is an image of Jakar. And yeah, he don't want to face that dude. And ultimately, they have a confrontation. And his biggest fear, apparently, the thing that's been killing Londo is his guilt and his fear of Jakar. And I think along with it, you know, being like this psychological thing, he's afraid what he did to the Narn people.
Mm-hmm.
He has this image that he's been pushing about what the Centauri used to be and the way the Empire is supposed to be. But he realized that he didn't get close, first off. He didn't get close. But to imitate that, he used the Narn people as a stepping stone. He crushed them. And it almost ruined the galaxy. And so he has this guilt, this undying guilt. Well, this is killing him from the inside out. And it takes the image of a Jakar. And he is pressured to take acceptance. So just as he's having this image of Jakar, the actual Jakar appears in Midlab. And what happens? Londo starts to have a seizure.
This is very much reality for me. And I only guess that like the writers of this episode maybe experienced something similar, because I had what would she be? She would be my cousin, but she's about the age of my mom. And before I was born, my mom and this cousin of mine did not get along. My cousin hated my mom a lot. And my cousin was very beautiful and vain. And she had a car accident and it really severely damaged her face. I think she lost her eye and she was in a coma, and everybody's trying to wake her and talk to her and God loves you and we love you and baby come back and all of this. And my mom decides to go to the hospital, and my mom just walked in the room and spoke. And this motherfucker woke up.
Wow.
Yes.
Like, it's you. Hey, people. Some people got triggers like that too. Or some people push buttons like that. It's like they walk into the room, either you feel their presence or they speak and they make things happen. Yeah, I know, I recognize that happens. So while Londo is dying, so he's going into like this cardiac arrest. While Londo is dying, he's having this very real vision of Jakar, and this is where we get the major confrontation of the episode, because all of that other stuff that he did, okay, whatever, but it's Jakar himself that is making him feel like dying. Jakar confronts him in the Emperor's throne, and he's accusing him of complicity with bombing the Narn world and the invasion. And Londo is like, what are you talking about? that was Lord Rifa. And so they replay Rifa, and Rifa is like, hey, we're about to go. And Londo's like, where are we going? He's like, oh, we're going to the Narn's homeworld. And he's like, see, I didn't say anything. And Jakar's like, exactly, you said nothing. And then his dream shifts to the Narn suffering on the homeworld. This is where Jakar is pressuring him. He's like, in order for Londo to survive, all he has to do is utter a single word. But Londo refuses. And I wanted to ask you two being women who have had experiences with men like this. This is a man who has the answer right in front of him. He's not dumb. He knows the answer, and he is absolutely refusing to the detriment of his own ability to live.
Hell yeah. I don't know about like imminent death situation, but the death of a 15-year relationship was on the line. And it's like, hey, tell me the truth. Like, I just need you to be honest with me right now. And 3 times it was like, no, I didn't. I don't know what you're talking about. And I'm just like, wow. And thankfully that happened because now I'm here with you, love. But it is it's just shocking to have information and be basically telling the person, I already know. Just admit it. And that they just won't. They just gonna take that shit to the grave. Like, all right.
They still think that you're going to just be okay with what happened and stop thinking that. And like, I've been obsessively watching debates online, and when men are debating women, they're like, the woman will ask a question and the man be like just repeating what they said or ignoring the question and not answering the women's questions. Like it sounds like a manipulative tactic that they'll just decide to start. If I don't give in, then they're going to be eventually be okay with what I'm going to do. And I did my last relationship. I told the guy, didn't want to deal with you no more. Don't want to be in a relationship. Go on and do whatever. And he would disappear for like a month or two and then come back and say hi, like nothing happened. I'm like,
gosh.
Isn't that wild?
He's like, why are you still mad? He would be like, hey, you want to hang out, whatever. No, I don't. I said I didn't want to deal with you anymore. And he's like, well, I thought you would be like not be mad anymore because I gave you some time. And I'm like,
oh my
okay, not out you out, not ready to yell. I'm just saying, why are you calling me?
Yeah.
Yep, just to see if they have access to you. I have currently got a friend blocked because a reel on the internet on Instagram, kind of brought that to my attention. It was one man, sharing with women that was a thing that men would do. Even if they don't really want you, they'll just do it to see if they have access to you. And so my block game is strong. Once you're on that list, good luck getting off. But that is really audacious of them to think that they don't have to actually do any work to resolve the harm that was done. And that's one of the things I like very much about our non-monogamous journey, love, is that there is no room for complacency. There's no space for letting shit slide. We got to stay on top of so many aspects of our dynamic because there's so many moving parts that we can't allow for any kind of poison like to creep in or mold to come in and grow and then, damage so many things that eventually would be unrepairable. So every little thing that comes up, we have to deal with it. It'd be hard sometimes, but once we actually deal with it, it don't never come up again. And that's actually something that I struggle with because I still kind of have those scars from previous relationships. Like we talked about this, we came up with the resolution for it, but until we do the thing 2 or 3 more times and I don't experience something bad off of it, do I really believe like, oh, okay, that really is resolved. I don't have to keep stressing about that thing anymore.
Yeah. To kind of jump off of gender roles, but it's kind of like Londo is in a place where his ego is being directly confronted, and it is so fragile that he'd rather die than apologize.
Yeah.
And not just apologize about anything. He'd rather die than apologize to G'Kar about what his role was in Jakar's personal torture and the subjugation of his people. And there is a term that it reminds me of, and I'm just going to throw it out there, which is an Earth term entitled white fragility. Supremacists who have this characteristic would rather die than apologize. So,
speaking of not making it gender, it reminds me of the moms who have parents who go no contact.
oh yeah.
I didn't do anything. That was their decision. Well, if they're upset about it, then that's their problem.
Yeah. And then all they need to do to like repair that relationship is to apologize. All they got to do is say, I'm sorry, I was wrong.
Because we've gone from romantic to paternal to whatever it's called, sibling. I was recently, told a story of some siblings who are in a very same predicament. And it's like, I love my sibling to death and I want to be there, but for my safety and like the protection of my own mental health, they have to put this boundary up. And until you like genuinely apologize, like, and make some steps towards repairing the damage, then we're not going to be able to be close at all. So yeah, that does happen in all different dynamics of relationships.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to try to get through this quickly because it's an intense sequence. But what it is, G'Kar transports Londo to the torture chamber that G'Kar was in, and he relives G'Kar getting beat. And he's like, yeah, you watched me get tortured and still you said nothing. All you had to do was say one word. And all of this is happening. And Londo's like, but nobody would have listened to me. And G'Kar goes, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they never stopped. It doesn't matter if they didn't listen. All that matters is you were there as a witness and you didn't say shit.
Mm-hmm.
Your power and your responsibility was to speak up and you didn't use it. And just like right now, all he has to do is speak up and he won't use the power. Balls in your court.
I could see why he would have been scared to do it then because of his culture and like people have fears, but you're at the point where you don't have to have that fear and you're being told it's okay. You could do this. It's not going to kill you or hurt you. It's literally going to save your life. That, like, this is shadow work, literally. A huge cognitive dissonance that people just have a block in their brain where they can't get past a certain thing. They only rely on that trauma response, and it's not a conscious response.
Yeah.
And you have to go through some stuff to get over it, to go into those dark shadows, to look the eyes of the G'Kar, basically. That's his shadow right there. And talk to them and apologize and confront it. Like it's hard. It's hard.
It was making me think about police officers that witness other police officers commit crimes and, kill innocent citizens. And everybody's wondering, like, why the hell you didn't say or do something? Like, for you to think that it would have changed nothing takes away all of any power that you have. Now, like, if me as just another citizen on the side of the street, me saying something more than likely really ain't gonna do nothing. But you and them are at least on the same political level or similarity, the same job title as far as the police go. You're gonna have way more power than anybody else. So if anybody's gonna be able to do anything, you would be the one. And if you don't even try, we don't know what would have happened if you had stood up.
Yeah. Well, I felt that way when I worked with a teacher who was constantly punishing kids for stupid mess. Or like sometimes we would be sitting there in the class, and she would have most of the class in timeout because of little things that they did. And they're all sitting there crying for no reason. And I'm like, could you have redirected them instead of just automatically sticking them in timeout and taking them away from everything? And she would come up with whatever excuse, and after a while it's like, what else can I do? Like, I reported her to the principal, I talked to the head of special ed, I've talked to the parents, like tried to beg them to come in the classroom. After a while, after a few years of that, it's like, what can I say? What can I do? Is there anything that I can do? I've even tried intervening with the kids before they did the things that the teacher would just go and put them in timeout for. Nothing worked until she actually got in trouble, like serious trouble with the school.
So
Yeah, nothing I could. I understand what it felt like to be in a position to help someone, and you know that your voice says nothing, even though you're in a position to say something. And Contagio was crazy.
absolutely, and he pushed
Like,
in power. That kind of look at the contrast. He used his influence and his voice to put crazy people in power, and he refused to use his voice to take them out of power or to stand up for people who were being oppressed by that power.
Yeah.
Unlike you who were out here speaking up, even though you did not see that it was helping at all until it did. So your conscience is going to be clear. You're not going to be on somebody's doctor operating table having some guilt attack. So you're good.
No, I'm gonna be somebody's specter when they die. They're gonna see my face and be like, "Oh no, that guy." So this is where we see this amazing scene. Jakar is dressed like Emperor Cartagio with his big frilly shirt, and he has this amazing flamboyant theatrical persona about him. And it is Londo tied to the post getting whipped. And while every whip strikes him, we see that he is, like, in real life being operated on vigorously by the medical staff trying to keep him alive because he's like dying. And they're counting down the strikes. And the reason why they're going through this is because Londo, even like in real life, Londo is dying. And the thing that would save his life, that would help him absolve his conscience and relieve his stress, is apologizing. And he is really holding his tongue. And the metaphor is, with those strikes, if they hit 40, he will die. That was the stipulations around Jakar. And so Jakar's counting it. He's counting down his life. And it's great, and it's kind of funny at the same time because the makeup of Jakar is actually really ridiculous with that costume on. So it's, it's good, but it's also kind of funny. And right before he gets whipped by the 40th strike, Londo screams out. And that saves his life. And he apologizes. And everything goes away. And we see Londo is on his knees. And Jakar is walking around him. And he is talking to him about what it took for him to make that apology. And he talks to Londo and he says, I could be just a figment of your imagination, a specter. I don't actually exist, but it was you who had to save your own life. And this is the part that y'all reminded me of. Londo wakes up and he looks and he sees Jakar and he silently acknowledges him and apologizes to him. Jakar acknowledges the apology and he just turns around and leaves. And it's a powerful moment. It's powerful, one, because of these two characters have been locked into this rivalry for several seasons. And now it appears that they're going to be real close friends. I'm sorry, go ahead.
From the first episode.
Yes.
They introduced them fighting.
Yeah. And now they are the tool for Londo, at least, to receive redemption. In retrospect, however, as an audience member, I can't help but to feel like we were robbed of justice. Jakar has every right to deny this whole thing. I know that they want to have this great redemption and you can turn a bad guy into a good guy. You can reform a Nazi, but in real life, Londo deserved to die. You know what I mean? So
I agree. And the only thing that is swaying me into not boycotting the rest of the free watching of this series is that there are some very profound cases in um Black American history where a oppressed person during segregation or different kinds of times in our history will have come into contact with like the head Klansmen of whatever the hell they call themselves, and through several interactions with one another, the hearts and minds of the racist would be changed, and then they do become very effective allies and spend the rest of their lives, trying to do the right thing. And it's a rare occasion that that happens, but it is possible. And despite my disgust and hate for, all the wrong and the evil and cruelty that these individuals um, do, if anybody is going to end the oppression and the racism, the people that are causing it have to be the one to stop doing it.
Mm.
Oh. So I still don't like it, and it just makes me want to vomit a little in my mouth. But him going to jail or him losing his title as a political figure and being able to come to the meetings and all of those different things aren't actually going to change his character. I know that corporal punishment and all those kinds of things don't actually work. But what he's going through is like a serious transformation. It's all like the inner work that you guys were talking about with what did you call it? His shadow work.
yeah, he's
And when you go through those kinds of punishments and you're having to actually face the harm that you've done and you have to really reparent yourself, you have to apologize to yourself, you have to heal yourself, then and only then are you actually going to be able to show up for and make a difference for the people that you actually harmed. And I am a believer in restorative justice, but that don't make it easy and it doesn't make it fun, or that I'm gonna like talk all nice about it like rainbows and butterflies. Nah, fuck all that. I might still reach out and touch your ass, but for the moment, I really fuck with how they put this episode together.
Yeah.
Mm. Well, and I also kind of my mind is stepping out of the actual storyline when it comes to, well, it is in the storyline, but outside of this particular part, I'm not making any sense. The prophecy of how he's going to die. So anytime they show him almost dying, we already know that there's a prophecy on how he's going to die. When that happens in shows, which is such a normal trope, I guess not that back then, but now they do it so much. It's like somebody predicted you were going to die here. So after that, actually, what was it? Star Trek Strange New World. We're going through this whole show wondering if the captain's going to get hurt or die or something, and we know he's not because we already know how he sees his demise. So
yeah. So we've gotten to the end of that, and it's, I mean, I joke about how he would rather die than apologize, but also he was willing to let the galaxy burn before he apologized. So So I'm glad that he reached this point of clarity and self-reflection because he hasn't had any for the whole series. So anyway, as he's recovering in the hospital in med lab, he's chatting with Veer and they're talking about legends of the Centauri. But this is a part that I was kind of centered on. He's talking about how bad the hospital food was, which, I mean, you know what? You died. So aren't you happy that you can taste bad food? I don't know. It's just kind of wild. But then Veer's like, hey, you need to like ease up on the stress and change your diet. I've said that to so many people so many times. People don't listen. And changing your diet is really easy, but it's something that you have to dedicate yourself to. It takes time. But everybody knows better than me, I guess. I feel you, Veer. I feel you. And then as the show goes off, we see that Lennier is jumping in a shuttle and he's heading to a White Star. So he's leaving Babylon 5 without telling Delenn this time.
Really? So were you actually gonna tell Delenn at dinner that you was leaving? Oh no, that's kind of shady.
I mean, he's super embarrassed. He's like, she found out.
Yeah.
I have this undying love for you. Now you know that I'm leaving because I'm in love with you. I need to leave so I can go under a rock on Mimbar and die.
Ain't that body surprised that you in love with her, boy?
This is the parallel between Lennier and what's his name? Londo. Yeah. So Londo's not willing to confront his feelings to apologize. He needs to face his fear of admitting he was wrong. And Lennier is not facing his fear of moving on from
from Delenn. Yeah.
Because both of those feelings hurt. Both of those feelings are scary. Where Lennier hasn't done anything necessarily wrong, his actions towards his fear, even though he's trying to be respectful about it, he hasn't killed anybody. He's just like being enormous asshole about his feelings. It's kind of the same. That fear of the feelings, the same as Londo is afraid of his feelings of confronting what he's done wrong. And I feel like Lennier has wronged himself because he spent all these years just pawning over her instead of like moving on to being himself or reaching his potential. Because we've seen him have so much potential and he can do so much and he knows so much, but he just stays up under her and not doing anything with it.
Yeah. So we end a very interesting episode. Like, I like the performance. The story is not connected to much other than Lennier. And so it's for the second episode in this season, it is definitely something that slows things way down. And so we can expect a more cerebral season, which is okay, which is fine. It doesn't have to be epic space battles every episode. But if it goes nowhere, then that would be extremely frustrating. And I really do hope that we get to see more of these deep internal issues for the characters. And we got a lot that we have to deal with. Of course, the main characters who are moving on is going to be a thing, but we got Captain Lashley. Is that her name?
I don't think that's how you say it.
I don't know.
Oh, gosh. We got the new captain.
New Ivanova.
Yeah. We got the new captain and her blending or meshing with the character, with the staff. We have apparently a colony of telepaths who are going to be popping up. So that's going to be interesting and offer some wrinkles into this season. This is the last season of this series. So there's a lot that can happen. And we're only on episode 2 for this season. So I'm looking forward to it. I guess the other thing is that parts of this episode reminded me of early Babylon 5. And I so appreciated that. It's not completely different, but it is telling us things are going to be different moving forward.
Yeah, that whole parallel with the two stories reminded me of the first season.
I liked how he had to like break through the grate and the heart in the grate, and tripping balls. Anyway, I think we can get on up out of here. Thank you for joining us for this edition of Voices in Hyperspace. You can find us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and we're also on a lot of your favorite streaming services: Spotify, Apple Music, and Amazon Music. Be sure to find us on YouTube, like, share, follow. Make sure all your friends are engaged and continue the discussion with us. I'm Legendary Black Lion. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Legendary Black Lion. Let's have some fun. Let's talk some more nerdy sci-fi stuff. How can people find you, Mel?
You can find me at melsrebellion.com. You can find me at Mel's Rebellion on YouTube. I have a channel where I talk about sci-fi there too. And you can find my books on Amazon. Well, my one book. There will soon be 2 books. And then many more.
Hey y'all, this is Sunday. You can find me at a poker table.
Until next time, we'll see you out there. Peace.